All right, looks like we are live. And one of the things I think our industry has to get really comfortable with is this: fun is not a finish line because guest expectations are changing, and what was innovative 10 years ago can feel completely ordinary today. And what was once a really fun physical attraction can become something entirely different when we layer that with technology. Competition, personalization, real time scoring, interactive visuals, achievements, and a reason to play again. We've talked a lot on this show about the fact that today's guests don't necessarily want just an experience to happen, they want to participate. They want to influence the outcomes. They want to compete with their friends. And increasingly, they expect physical and digital worlds to come together. So the question for operators becomes, how do we take attractions that already work to make them even better without adding technology just for the sake of adding technology? And that is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. I don't know, I never get tired of that intro, but I want to welcome you again to Live with Sondra. I'm your host, Sondra Shannon, CEO of Gatemaster Technology. And before we jump into today's conversation, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Gatemaster Technology. For more than 30 years, Gatemaster has helped attractions simplify operations, improve guest experiences, and growth through revenue technology. And one of the things we've learned over those 30 plus years working with technology and attractions is that technology works best when it's something that the guest barely has to think about. The technology shouldn't become the experience, it should make the experience better. It should be a part of the experience. And it should remove friction. It should create opportunities for personalization, give operators better information, and ultimately give guests more reasons to engage, spend, and come back. That's what today's conversation, or why today's conversation is a natural fit. I also want to give a quick shout out to everyone listening on the Live with Sondra podcast. We love our podcast listeners, and I'm so grateful that you're here with us. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to share this episode, like, and subscribe to our new Live with Sondra YouTube channel. It really helps us continue to bring conversations like this to the attractions industry. And I just want to thank everybody who's listening across all platforms. If you got questions or comments, our chats are open and we'd love to hear from you. So let's talk about today's guest. Today's guest is someone who believes that no physical game should ever be considered fun enough. And I love that idea. Arash Hoss is the CEO of Novus Attractions, where he's focused on reinventing how guests experience physical spaces through technology. His team takes traditional games and layers them in smart systems with sensors, interactive visuals, real time feedback, and gamification to make those experiences more immersive, more social, and more memorable. And there's something else in Arash's bio that caught my attention, and that is the one thing that he can't live without, and that is the feeling of progress, which in any business, games, travel, or even if you have a personal goal, I think that's really an entrepreneurial answer. And that's something that I really like about this person is the entrepreneurial side of this industry and how sometimes it is about the feeling of progress because we're never really finished. And there's something we're always trying to improve. So, Arash, welcome to Live with Sondra.
Yeah, hi Sandra. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks. And I'm really happy to see so many great people joining us today.
Yeah, I love it. I love this show. I love the audience and all the people who show up for the guests, but also who we're bringing on this show and the caliber of people, and you're one of those. So, are you okay if I jump into some questions?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Let's do it. So, what inspired your mission to reinvent traditional attractions through modern technology?
I have always loved games, but I have always loved creating, even more than playing. Even as a kid, I kept wondering why some games stay in our mind for years while others are exciting for a few minutes and then disappear. Over time, I realized that fun by itself is not always what creates a strong memory. A game can be enjoyable, competitive, social, or simply a break from everyday life. But the expectation we remember that usually have something more. They create emotion build up, surprise, or a story around what we are doing. Disney's Tower of Terror was a big example of me for me. At its core, it is a serial drop ride. The basic physical motion is not unusual. What makes it memorable is everything around that motion: the hotel, the sound, the timing, the story, and the way the experience built before the drop. They did not need to replace the physical idea, they gave it more depth. So that changed the question I was asking myself. Instead of asking what is the next great game, I began asking myself how can we maybe take the games people already love and make the experience richer and more memorable without losing what makes the game good in the first place. That is really where Novus began. Technology was never the end goal. I saw it as a supporting layer around the physical game. It can remove small interruptions, create better feedback, and give the space more ways to respond to what players are doing. What interested me most is was separating the physical asset from the experience layer. The game may have a long life, so there is no reason to rebuild it every time you want something new. If the layer around it can change and the attraction can keep feeling current without losing what people already like about it, uh, that also changed the creative process. You can ask what the group should notice, what should change on a repeat visit, or how the experience should build from one moment to the next. The physical game becomes the foundation and not the limit. And I like that fact that this approach can keep the attraction familiar while the experience around it changes. A venue can refresh the way a game feels without rebuilding the core game every time. For me, that is the right balance. The technology gives us more creative freedom, but the guests should still remember the game. the people they played with, and the moment they had.
Yeah, I love that. I
Thank
love that. And I love the idea of the attraction being almost new every time. But that kind of makes me think about why why do you believe that no physical game is ever truly fun enough as it is in its current standards or as it currently stands?
you. I don't see fun enough as a finish line. A physical game can already be very good, but the way people respond to it changes with experience. With experience, the first time, almost everything is new. After visits, players know the rules, understand the path, and start to predict what will happen. That is where the opportunity is. You do not need to keep adding more hardware or make the game more complicated. You need to give the player a reason to stay curious. Uh, Different groups also come in very different expectations. A family may want something easy to understand and social. A competitive group may want harder goals and more accurate performance feedback. A written player may want to beat a personal result or face a new challenge. The physical game can stay the same while the challenge around it changes. I also think there is a difference between novelty and depth. Novelty gets attraction once, but depth gives people reason to come back. A new effect may look interesting, but a useful change should affect how people play, what they try to achieve, or how they interact with the group. For me, the important thing is reply value. If a player comes back, I do not want the second visit to feel like a copy of the first one. Maybe the objective change, maybe the scoring opportunities change, maybe the system recognize that this player has more experience and give them a harder target. There is also a pace issue. A first time a player may need a clear path and fast feedback. A repeat player may want more freedom or harder decision. So if the game can responds to that difference, the operators does not need a separate physical attraction for every type of guest.
Yeah.
So when I say no game is ever truly fun enough, I'm not saying the game has a problem. I'm saying there is always room to keep it fresh. A strong attraction should be able to grow with the player instead of giving everyone the exact same experience every time. For an operator, it means the value of the asset can keep growing after installation, not only on opening day.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea. You know, I had our friend Mitchell on the show because he has a laser tag background like me, and I do think, one of the things that I've always appreciated about laser tag, although we weren't able in the old days, we didn't. It was very difficult to control the gameplay. But what I did like about it was for those players who were repeat visitors, to your point, we can level up the game for those people so that it continued to be a new experience for them. But that kind of leads me to my next question, which is experience and engagement. Along the lines of experience and engagement, how do you seamlessly integrate smart systems into classic physical games without disrupting the core player experience?
Mhm. The first rule for me is simple. Technology should not become the main event. People come to play a physical game with the people around them. Uh, if it is mini golf, they still want a real putter, a real ball, and a real shot. Those things are identity of the game, so I do not want to change them. I would rather improve what happens around the game. Scoring can happen automatically. Players' progress can be tracked. The environment can react at the right moment. Rules and challenges can change without asking players to stop, open an app, or learn a completely different activity. So the same thinking applies on the operator side. The smart layer should fit the venue instead of facing the venue to fit the technology. I prefer avoiding new wiring and local power at every player point. If the and intelligence can sit around the game instead of adding more hardware at every physical point. The installation is clear and it could be cleaner. Staff have less manage and the guest never has to think about it. Um, there is also a practical question around failure. If a digital feature has a problem, I still want the core activity to make sense. One small technical issue should not stop the whole attraction. Timing matters too. A late response can feel disconnection from the attraction. So the system has to understand the event and responds fast enough to protect the rhythm of the game. The other part is balance. Just because a system can trigger more lights, more screens, or more effect does not mean it should.
Yeah.
Every response should have a purpose. It should help the player understand what happens, create a stronger reaction, support the group, or move the game forward. I also try to avoid creating extra steps for the guest. If people have to register, scan, confirm, tap, and wait for every part of the game, the technology is creating friction instead of removing it. The best interaction is often the one where player simply plays and the system understands what happened. And this is how I judge whether the integration is successful. If the physical game still feels natural, the flow is better and the operator has less work instead of more, then the smart system is doing its job. So if player leave talking mainly about the technology, I think we have probably made the technology too visible.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. What role does the real-time data? So you mentioned you've mentioned the technology and that comes with data, right? What role does that real-time data play in keeping guests deeply immersed and coming back for more? Like, how is that data used?
For me, the value of real-time data is timing. Something happens in the physical game, the system understands it, and the response happens while moment still matters. Uh, that connection is important. If a player makes a difficult shot, improves a result or reaches a goal, the feedback should come right then. It can be a score, a sound, a virtual response, or a new challenge. The player should not have to stop the game and do the work themselves. So when the response is immediate, the game feels more away from what is happening. Uh, before you do anything interesting with data, the event itself has to be trustworthy. If the system misses a play or record the wrong result, every layer built on top of that become weaker. So the guess immediately because it affects the score, the feedback, and sometimes the outcome. So the same data can also connect one visit to next. A player can have a personal best, an unfinished goal, or a result they want to improve. A group can come back because they want another chance at a challenge that gives the next visit a reason to exceed beyond simply play the same course again. So I think that is where data become more than scoring.
Yeah.
It gives the experience memory. The game can know that this person has played before, and that this group completed something last time, or that a player is getting better. You can use that information to create a sense of progress without changing the basic physical game. And there is also an operator side that I think is just as important. Real-time data can show where players slow down, where they lose interest, which challenges get the strongest response, and uh, and where the flow of the attraction starts to break. It can also help separate a design problem from an operating problem. If the same point creates delay across many groups, that tells you something different than one guest simply having a bad round. Used well, that information helps operators adjust the experience without rebuilding the physical attraction. You know, they can change the challenge, pacing, feedback, or game logic based on what players are actually doing. Over time, that creates a much better feedback loop between design and operation. The key is not to turn the attraction into a dashboard. Players should not be studying data while they are supposed to be playing, and the data should do its work in the background and appears only when it helps the moment. So for the guest, it should feel like a more responsive game. For the operator, it should become a better way to understand and improve the experience over time.
Well, I like that. I like that. I like that the data can be used to improve the experience, and I also like what you said about how when a game is stopped over and over again, you can see that there is need for improvement, and maybe that it can help operators truly pinpoint where maybe that improvement needs to take place versus having to redo the entire experience. But along that same lines of engagement, how let's talk about interactive visuals. How does adding interactive visuals and sensors fundamentally change group socialization at a entertainment venue?
Right. The interactive visuals and sensors can help people connect more during the game. Uh, the real challenge happens when one player's action becomes a moment for the whole group. So, in many physical games, one person is active while everyone else is waiting. Uh, Bowling is an easy example. One person rolls the ball, but the result belongs to the group. If the environment reacts to a strike, a close result, or an important moment, everybody sees it at the same time. They react together. That turns a single action into a shared memory. So the waiting time matters too. In many group attractions, people are part of the game, but less involved while someone else and take a turn. A good interactive layer gives them something to follow or a reason to support the active player. So the social engage does not drop between turns. Uh, the same idea works beyond scoring. A system can create team goals, group challenges, comebacks, or moments where one player's result change what happens for everyone else. That gives people more reasons to watch each other and talk, compete, and work together. I think the design of the interaction matter a lot. If every player is looking down at the personal screen, you can actually weaken the social side of the game. I would rather put the response into a shared space, lighting, sound, projections, or a common display, or even a physical reaction in the environment. Uh, then the technology becomes something the group experience together instead of something that separate them. That shared space also gives you more control over emotional rhythm of the group. You can create a moment of tension before result, recognize a comeback, or let the team goals build across several turns. Those are small designs choices, but they change how much actions players give to one others. And this also gives operators more freedom to support different type of groups without changing the physical attraction. One group may respond to direct competition, another may join team goals, another may simply want fun or unexpected moments that make the night more memorable. So the goal is not to make people talk about sensors or visual. The goal is to use them to create more reasons for people to react to each other. If the group leaves still talking about something that happens during the game, then the technology help the social experience instead of getting it the way.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. The gameplay can actually bring the connected experience to the group. And what I love about it is that so many people think that gameplay inside of our attractions might do the opposite, but your point is that it actually brings them together in a shared experience and they can share data amongst themselves and you can tailor the gameplay for particular groups, which I think is really really a cool part of what you're doing. So when we're talking about implementation and strategy for operators, what is one of the biggest hurdles attraction operators face when upgrading traditional setups to smart ecosystems?
The biggest issue is usually not one piece of technology. It is the risk of changing a live operation.
Yeah.
Operations already have equipment, staff habits, payment systems, scoring systems, maintenance routines, and a business that has to keep running. So an upgrade has to fit into a working environment that is very difficult for design new venue from an empty room. The difficult part is getting all pieces to work together. A sensor may comes from one company, a scoring system from another, a point of sales, a system from another, and a venue may already have its own control or display setup. I do not think an operator should have to replace good equipment just because a new layer wants to close system. The smarter approach is to work with what is already there and connect to different systems when needed. That flexibility matters long term. Vendors and software change. A good upgrade should not trap the operator. So one feature change forces a larger rebuild. You know, I would rather make the smart layer a bridge between systems than a reason to replace them. Another part people sometimes miss is recovery. It is not enough for a system to work in a demo. What happens on a full Friday night if one component stop working? Can the staff keep the game moving? Can one part be replaced without shutting down the whole attraction? Can the operator understand the problem without calling an engineer for a small issue? I also look at the installation plan, how much of the venue has to close. Can the work happen in stages? Can the operator upgrade one area, learn from it, and move on without a major shutdown? Downtime has a direct business cost. So and that is where a good design has to include the operation, not just guest facing experience. A staff training should be simple, and support should be clear. Maintenance should be planned from the beginning. And parts should be easy to replace, and the operator should know what the upgrade is expected. What the upgrade is expected to improve, whether that is a game flow, repeat visit, scoring, staff efficiency, or revenue. Cost matters, of course, but cost is easier to plan than unknown operational risk. You know, the real decision is whether the upgrade creates clear value without making the venue harder to run. For me, a smart ecosystem is successful when it makes the guest experience better and the operator's job simpler. At the same time, if one side improves while another side becomes harder, then we have only moved the problem.
Yeah, I agree. We see that in our on our side of technology all the time, right? You got to simplify it for the operators. Well, speaking of operators and simplifying things, what core advice do you have for operators looking to pilot gamified tech without like a massive capital overhaul? Because I think that's a question people are going to have is around the cost, right? And what does this look like?
Uh, my main advice is keep the pilot small in area, but complete as an experience. A lot of pilots become too small in the wrong way. They test a sensor, a screen, or a feature, and then try to judge the whole idea for the whole game. That tells you whether a component works. It does not tell you whether the guest experience or the business case works. So before choosing the technology, define the result you want to improve. Maybe it is a repeat play. Maybe it is game flow. Maybe it is a group engagement, staff efficiency, or a new venue opportunity, a new revenue opportunity. So if you do not define that first, it is very easy to end up with a nice demo and not clear reason to expand it. Uh, so um, so then choose a limited part of the venue and make that part complete. The player should be able to enter the experience, understand it, play it, get the feedback, and finish it without feeling like they are testing a half-built product. Uh, the staff should also be able to run it as part of a normal shift. I would also set the baseline before the pilot starts. If you do not know how the current experience performs, it is hard to prove what changes. Uh, Measure the things that matters before and after, and uh, and uh, and do not measure only whether guests like it. Look at behaviors. Did they play again? Did the flow improve? Uh, did the staff need more help or less? Or did the experience create results that matter to the venue? I would include operating measures too. How much staff attention did the pilot need? Did it create delays? How often did something need to reset? A feature can be popular with guests and still be a bad upgrade if it makes every shift harder to run. Uh, so test it during real operation conditions. A system that looks perfect in a presentation can behave very different when the venue is full. A group arrive back to back, a staff are handling five other things at the same time. And those conditions are part of the test. So keep the commercial question clear as well. If the goal is a repeat play, measure it. If the goal is better flow, measure the time. If the goal is new revenue, define where it should come from. The pilot is easier to define when the goal was clear before the result. Finally, decide in advance what happens next. If the pilot works, there should be a clear path to expand it. If it doesn't work, you should be able to identify why without putting a major investment at risk. So I would not recommend a huge first step, but I would also not recommend a big pilot. Start small, test the complete experience, measure it against real goals, and let the evidence decide the next step.
Yeah. I like that. I like that everything that you've talked about today really comes back to that thing that's really important to you, which is continuing to make progress, right? Because everything that you've talked
Right.
about for these operators it brings you back to what that progress looks like. So, just kind of looking forward on the horizon of what's happening in attractions, what are some of the emerging technologies that you're most excited to deploy in physical attractions over the next 5 years? What gets you excited about what you're doing?
Over the next 5 years, I'm especially excited about adaptive AI, a system that can understand what is happening in the game and adjust the experience based on solutions and the situation. Most interactive systems today react to a specific event. A sensor sees something, and the system trigger a score, a light, a sound, or an animation. The next step is to understand the bigger picture. How fast is this group moving? How experienced do they seem? Are they having an easy time? Are they getting stuck? Are they highly competitive? Or are they mostly there to have fun together? Once the system understands that content, it can make better decisions. Uh, in an escape room, it might recognize that a group has spent too long on a part and give a small hint at the right time. A faster group could get a harder path or an extra goal. The room did not need to rebuild. The experience changes because the system understood the player. I think that idea becomes even more interesting when you connect it to the physical attraction itself. And the same space can support different rules, goals, feedbacks, and themes without changing the core equipment. A venue could refresh the look and feel of an experience, or create a different game mode without rebuilding the space every time. That gives the operator more life from same physical footprint, and gives returning players something new to discover. Changeable theming is especially interesting because content can be refreshed without changing the physical game. A venue could use one field during a normal week, another for a seasonal event, and another for a private group.
Yeah.
Um, that changes how I think about the life of attraction. Um, It also opens the door to better adaptation without making the experience feel personal in an uncomfortable way. Uh, the system does not need to know everything about the guest. It can make useful decisions based on what is happening inside the game, pace, result, choices, and group behavior. Uh, uh, I also think AI can help operators create and manage content, not only react to players. Over time, um, it could help teams build and tune new games modes faster, while people still control the creative direction and the rules. There is a business reason I like this direction too. Content can change faster than hardware. That's very interesting to me. Uh,
Yeah.
if the physical system stay in place while the game logic, goals, and theme can keep changing, an attraction can stay fresh without constant construction. That is important for repeat visits, but it is also important for operations and capital planning. No, the line I would not cross is making players feel that the AI is studying them. The game should feel a way of the moment, not like a system is watching them. Uh, there also have to be clear limits. AI should never change something like safety, fairness, or core result outside what the operator instant. So if we can get that balance right, AI become less about showing off a new technology and more about making a physical attraction more flexible, more responsive, and better at giving different group the right changes at the right time. Um, yeah, right.
Yeah, I love that. And I love what you said about the future is kind of owned by those who can create the content, right? The content creation is going to be so important because that
Exactly.
is something that people are going to be wanting more and more of, especially as guests start visiting our attractions and interacting with gameplay like what you all are creating. Well, we're wrapping up on time for this show, Arash, and I just want to make sure that for everybody watching and listening today, if they want to connect with you or learn more about Novus Attractions or explore all the things we talked about today, what gamification could look like inside their own venues, where is the best place to find you?
Yeah, email could be the best. My email is my first name, Arash, at our company's name, novusattractions.com. Um, yeah, they can email me anytime
And I
if they
think
have
you
any
said you'll
question.
also be IAPA in
Yeah,
London in
yeah, we have a
September.
booth in IAPA London
Oh,
and in
nice.
Orlando as well. Yeah,
Yeah, great. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you at both. I know we got a chance to hang out in Hong Kong when IAPA
yeah,
was there this last June, and that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of
yeah,
fun, and
right.
and it's been even more fun getting to know you and all that you guys do and what you're about at Novus, and
Thank you.
really Novus Attractions, and really you've opened my eyes today with regards to a lot of how technology can interact with attractions and then also enhance the guest experience. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll
See you.
see you soon. I'll see you in
See you.
London.
Yeah, of course. Bye now.
Bye bye. Well, I think one of the biggest takeaways from today's conversation is that innovation doesn't necessarily mean tearing everything down and starting over. Sometimes it means taking something that guests already love and asking, how could this be better? Going back to that idea of always making progress. How could it be more interactive? How could it be more personal? How can it be more social and competitive, more memorable? And most importantly, how do we give guests a reason to come back? If you've noticed, this has been a theme for my last couple of shows. I think this is something that we need to keep asking ourselves as attraction operators. So, because this is how we ultimately, or what we're ultimately trying to create. It's not just another transaction, it's not just another attraction. We want to give people experiences that they want to have over and over again. And before I close up the show today, I want to again thank Gatemaster. We've spent more than 30 years thinking about that same challenge from the operational side. How do we use technology to make the guest journey easier while giving operators the tools they need and better information? From ticketing to access control, food, beverage, retail, memberships, and the data to connect the entire guest journey. Technology should remove friction, not create more of it. And Arash said this today. As we experience, as an experience becomes increasingly interactive and personalized, I think that the connection between the attraction experience and the technology supporting it is only going to become more and more important. So I want to thank everybody for joining me on another episode of Live with Sondra. Special thank you to everyone who is listening to this as a podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and follow the new Live with Sondra YouTube channel. This is how we get to share conversations like this. This is how we get to find guests like Arash who keep coming on here, the guests who keep coming on here and sharing just information that are going to help attractions be better at what they do and make that progress that he mentioned. You can also watch previous shows or episodes or apply to be on one of our shows at livewithsondra.com. And again, I am Sondra Shannon. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And this is Live.